Mark, what do you think about the intro song? You like it? Exactly. That's what I thought.
It sounds like somebody's getting ready to say something.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. That's the point.
Well, go ahead, Cameron. Do your intro.
Anticipation.
Yes.
Welcome. Jeff always likes to give me a hard time about the intro song.
Well, we've had the same song the whole time we've done it, and we've tried to change.
It's
and
a
every
staple.
time, it is our staple. But every time we change, we get flagged by. Sometimes we've used special songs in YouTube. You know how YouTube or whatever will flag you for a song you don't have a license to use. But
I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, it's fine. I just thought I'd pull you into that conversation.
They can't figure that song out.
No, that's right. They're like, we don't recognize that one. That's right. Pretty sick.
We've got Mark on the podcast today.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Brother
Good to
Mark
be with you.
Caruth.
First time we were talking a few weeks ago about Cody getting on, and it just dawned on me Mark hadn't been on it yet. So this is your first time on here.
First time.
There you
Great.
go.
So they can listen to it or they can watch it as well. So just know that like you'll be on.
They see us.
Yeah, YouTube. And a lot of people do watch it. So
I better not pick my nose.
I was going to say I'm just making you aware. Not everybody knows that.
Can't pull my dress up.
Yeah.
You know,
No, you can't. No, you gotta sit right and act right.
I always told my kids, you up on the stage and you're singing, please don't pick your nose, and to the girls, please don't pull your dress up. You know, you just you know,
And little girls, the little ones, little ones will definitely
do it every
do
time.
that, not think a thing about it.
Yeah. Well, yesterday we had our Palm Sunday choir concert, but instead of the afternoon, we did it in the morning. So
did it in the morning. Three services, all three services.
So we got Mark on. First, before we get into Palm Sunday, I've talked to you about this a few times, but I love your story of how you got into ministry, got into the music side of things. And so love to hear it for you to just share with our people how long you've been in it and how
I
all that
love
started.
sharing it. I really do. Thank you, Cameron, for the opportunity. I kind of went into the ministry kicking and screaming. I had known for a while God that had his hand on me. At a very early age, he blessed me with some talent. When I was a young child, about 5 years old, I became interested in the piano, just interested. And we would go to church on Sundays, and I would come home, and I would pick out the songs that we had sung that day on the piano.
Yeah.
And my mother was very impressed. I thought nothing of it, nothing of it. And when I was 8 years old, one day I was in the kitchen at the table eating some lunch, and my mom was in the living room, two rooms away, playing a hymn on the piano. And I blurted out, "Mom, that's not a," and I called out the note.
Really?
and that's supposed to be a.
Yeah.
And she comes into the kitchen and she said, "How did you know that?" I just know it. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be an A; it's supposed to be a G.
Huh.
And she said, "You sit right there. Don't move."
Yeah.
So she went back. She started hitting notes on the piano, and I told her every note that she hit.
No kidding.
I'm 8 years old.
Wow.
And she
had anybody ever taught you that?
No, I have no idea.
Really?
I didn't even know. I just thought it was everybody could do
knew
that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wrong note. Here's the right note. And so time went on. When I was 12 or 13, right here at Emmanuel, even though I did not go to Emmanuel, but a guy by the name of Elmo Mercer, who wrote a lot of gospel songs, he came out with an album, and we came to his concert here. And Dad purchased the album, 33 and a third. You know, we took it home, and I just fell in love with that. A lot of piano playing on it. And so I learned a couple of his songs by ear. And so he came back the next year. Brother Owens invited him. He came back for Sunday night concert. And after the service, Dad took me down front, and we were talking with Elmo. I'll never forget as long as I live. And Dad said he really loves that Footsteps of Jesus arrangement that you do.
Yeah.
He said, he's been playing it on the piano. He said, can I hear it?
No kidding.
So I sat down and I played it, the runs and everything.
Wow.
I'll never forget it.
Huh.
You know, Elmo put his hand on my shoulder and he said, son, God's given you a gift.
Wow.
He said, don't you ever stop that.
Yeah.
You follow him and you just let him use you. And what was really crazy is I was almost into baseball. I was really into baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of going to give up the piano.
Mm.
I really wasn't focused on it then. I just liked doing it.
Right.
Well, that gave me a frame of mind. Well, I went all through my teenage years. I never took any. Anyway, let me back up a little bit. I did take a few 2 years as a 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
That's a crazy story in itself. My brother was 13. He wanted to take piano. They took me to the place. I was a tag along.
Mm-hmm.
And the music teacher said, well, what about him, pointing at me? And Mom said, he's too young. She said, no, he's not.
You were 5.
I was 5 years old.
Okay.
She said, he's not. And so they put me in. So for a couple of years, my dad then lost his job.
Mm-hmm.
We fell on some hard times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took about 2 years, and that was it.
Wow.
But I did learn the notes.
Sure.
And all of that stuff. Anyway, all right, let me get back to when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
I was a member of church, and the pianist moved. She moved out of state, and it wasn't a big church back then, about 150 people.
Mm-hmm.
And the next Sunday morning, the music director he got up, and he said, "As you all know, our pianist has moved, and anyway, we're just going to sing without the piano." And somebody said, I don't even know who said it, said, Mark can do it.
Huh.
And he looks at me and he said, do you know this song? And he said it. And I said, I think so. So I got up there and played. Well, the next month in business meeting, I was elected to church piano player.
Nice.
And so here I am playing
13 years old.
13 years old.
Wow.
And so time went on, and I became a member of Fairview when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And that came quite by accident. At that time, Fairview had a big choir, a big youth choir,
Okay.
like 60 kids.
Wow.
And they would do a tour in the summer.
Right.
They'd go to several
Yep.
churches. You'll remember that
Yep.
era.
Oh, yeah.
Cameron don't.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It wasn't around then.
No.
Our
Anyway.
church tried it and it didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
Yeah.
Well, it was
5
a
of us
thing.
and
It was a thing back
three
in
could sing.
that era,
Yeah.
the early 70s. And so Michael Christian he led that youth group. And he calls me up, says, Mark, we've got a tour. We've lost our piano player. Will you please get us through this tour? So I agreed. We went through it. And back then, Lebanon High, and that was about the only school. So when I went and played, I knew everybody.
Right. Right.
So I turned 16, had my own car, and so Dad and Mom said, we in the youth group that I had in my church consisted of about 8
Yeah.
kids.
Sure.
And he said, Mark, if you want to go there, if you promise us, you'll go every Sunday.
Yeah.
You'll be faithful. We don't like big churches. We're going to stay right where we are.
Yeah.
So I went and joined Fairview. So here I am. I've started helping a man by the name of Bob Evans. You may
Okay.
remember that name. I don't know. But anyway, wonderful guy. And he
All right, so could you read music at this point?
I could read music, but now I could read a hymn out of the hymn book,
Okay.
a simple hymn
Yeah.
out of the hymn book.
But like playing the choir tour that you played.
Yeah, yeah.
Did they give you sheet
I
music?
learned
and
it
you,
all by ear.
no kidding.
They just gave me demos, and I just learned
And you
it.
just listened to it and
Just
played
listened to it and learned it.
Wow.
That's basically, for the most part, of
Yeah.
the way I played.
it? Yeah.
But I started helping Bob. I was sort of his assistant, get out all the music for the choir and do all the helpful things for
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah.
Anyway, so got to play a lot then, and but just was his assistant, and just was drawn to it. Just was so drawn to it. Just get to church. I couldn't wait to get to church. Got to church early.
Yeah.
And anyway, now, at the same time, when I turned 16, I began work at Kroger.
Mm-hmm.
How long have I got?
Oh,
You're good.
look,
No,
we
you're
got
good,
all the time in the
You're
world.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Normally, we're still talking about basketball by now.
Yeah. We got into this one a lot quicker than normal.
That's great.
So you're good.
Well, anyway, the day I turned 16, I had a friend at Kroger, and he said, "Hey, they're hiring. They pay good money. Come over here." So I went over there, and they took me on immediately. Well, I was a bag boy for a couple of weeks. Then I was a checker for about a year, and then I went into the office because they found out I had this knack, and I guess it was from piano playing or whatever, but a 10-key adding machine.
Okay.
Okay, I was really fast.
Really?
Really fast. We had a
Wow.
Let me tell them myself. We had a competition, and this competition was this room of vocational office education girls
Okay.
and me. And Miss Hankins wanted me in the room because I could lift all of her machines, the
Nice.
typewriters, and all of this kind of stuff. So I was
You was the muscle.
I was a muscle. I was a muscle man. But I also loved these machines. And I could type very well, do the 10-key adding thing. Anyway, so we had this competition in Jackson. So I loaded the van with all the machines and stuff that we had to take and came to this competition. And in this huge room, there were 300 girls, 300 of them. And I'm back there. I'm standing against the wall. Well, they had a competition for this 10-key adding machine, and we didn't have anybody in the competition. And I said, "Miss Hankins, would they?" Out of 300 girls, I came in second.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah, I just, and to this day, I just.
Can you do it even to this day?
Yeah.
Really?
I love watching people do that, though.
I know, it's amazing. Because
Just
you're
like flying.
They're not hitting numbers.
No,
No,
yeah,
they're just doing it, man. They're just doing that.
I was like 92 words a minute on the typewriter.
No kidding.
Jeez.
I mean, it was just crazy. It was crazy. Anyway, again,
Yeah.
the Lord just gave me that type
Right.
of thing. So I did the books. When I went into the office at Kroger, I did the books.
Yeah.
Every night, all the check lanes, all that money came to me, and I balanced the books.
Okay.
And I just ate it up. I loved it.
Did you have one of the machines where you go and pull the handle?
Yeah. They had by the time I got into the office, they started with the electric.
With the electrics, yeah.
Way back, yes.
Yeah.
I even had the checkout. I had a checkout lane at one time.
No kidding.
And no kidding. Had to read every label on every can.
Wow.
They go, I'm really dating
I remember,
myself.
No, but I remember
Really
that.
dating
Yeah, I
myself.
remember that. Absolutely.
But those were fun.
Push the button, boop,
Yeah,
boop,
yeah,
boop.
yeah,
The
yeah.
mechanical buttons.
Yeah. So anyway, here I am, and so I really became interested in that. So one day, it just kind of came to me. I love this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be an accountant. I'm going to be a CPA, going to hang me a shingle, have my own office, make a lot of money, drive a nice car.
Corvette.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking Cadillac back then.
Okay.
Cadillac was thing back then.
Yeah,
But
there
anyway,
you go.
that's what I was going to do. I just set my mind to it, and that's what I was going to do. One of those.
Yeah.
I got really focused on it. So I go to college, and I major in accounting. And the only way I can describe it is I became miserable.
Hmm.
And to this day, I can't really take. I was good with numbers. I was doing all right at school, everything. But when I would go to church and I'd help Bob, I just
that joy. That
joy.
was there,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It was something deep inside.
Yeah.
That I couldn't let go of.
Yeah.
Couldn't let go of. I just longed for it. Just looked for it. And so in my sophomore year, finished my sophomore year, and was fixed to go into junior year, and we had a revival. And the music evangelist at the revival picked up on my talent. And anyway, we're through, and he looked at me. I'll never forget it. He looked at me and he said, have you ever felt any sort of God's calling on your life to do this for your life?
Yeah.
And I thought, okay. I told him, well, I loved it, but that's not what I was going to do.
Right.
Because I couldn't make any money.
Yeah, that's right.
Guys, I mean, I'm just being honest with you.
Sure.
I just can't make any money in church music. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And so I fought it. So then in 1980, I was 23 years old, and I had this bright idea. Everything's a bright idea.
Oh, yeah.
There was a part-time opening at First Baptist Gordonsville. And I thought, I'll do music part-time, and I'll still be a CPA. Yeah. I'll still be rich. Wow.
Make more money. Make even more money.
What an idea.
Yeah.
So here I go. I told them that I was available, and they picked me right up, and I was having a blast. I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I don't know, a couple of years later, I said, okay, God, I give up.
Yeah.
I'm yours.
Yeah.
You have your way. I'm miserable. Can't tell you why I'm miserable, but I think I know why I'm miserable, because I don't believe I'm in the center of your will. So, Lord, I surrender.
Yeah.
You have it all. You have it all. And just a short time later, the door opened, and I had finished college, and a door opened up in Nashville, and in fact, remember Wayne Ray?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
Wayne Ray had just left that church, and for some reason, I don't know if he dropped my name somehow, but I got a call.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an opening, and would you pray about it? And okay, all right, Lord, we'll see. If it's not of your will, stop it.
Right.
He didn't. And that was a long time ago.
That was the beginning. That was the beginning of it. Yeah.
The beginning of it. And I never looked back. Never looked back. And never. And quite honestly, to think of all the wonderful things that I would have missed.
Oh, sure.
Even though I'd made the money.
That's right.
Got my nice house, my nice car, but all that I would have missed.
That's right.
In those years of not yielding my life to the Lord.
Right.
And so I started telling everybody I knew, no matter what's going on in your life, if you will surrender your future to the Lord and say, Lord, I think I know what I want to do, but maybe that's not what you want me to do. So I'm wide open.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
cool.
it just, the rest is history.
Yeah.
So it's just I love telling that.
That's an awesome. Yeah, it's a great story.
And
like you said, the key is because we all have what we think we're going to do. So, Lord, I'm going to pursue this, but the door's open.
Yeah.
But your will be done. Right.
At first, I wouldn't open the door.
Well, that's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was a little too hard-headed, a little too focused on the material side of it. I wanted to provide for my family. Sure. All the excuses.
We got all those excuses, yeah.
But I've never missed a meal
I
didn't elect to miss.
That's right.
Yeah.
Lord's taking care of you for
the
sure.
Lord's given me a wonderful wife and two great boys. And Cameron and I have been laughing at the two boys thing because he's going through some funny.
Oh yeah.
Awkward. Hey, I had them all.
Been there, done that.
Boy, they were all boys. That's
That's
awesome.
yeah,
But the Lord's He's walked me through all of these years, and now, 16 going on 17 years here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So, love it.
That's awesome.
I remember when I was like figuring out my call to ministry, and is this a full-time, like, how do you know if it's a full-time call? Like, is this what I need to be doing?
Was that back when you told me no?
I was way before that.
Oh, that was before. Yeah. Oh, that was before then. Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. I thought maybe you were wrestling with God.
No.
Right.
I was pretty firm on that one.
Yeah, obviously not. Obviously not.
But I remember being told, and I didn't understand it at the time, but they had someone tell me, if you can do anything else, do it. But if this is what God wants you to do, He'll make it very clear. And I thought about that, like, that sounds kind of like, if you can do anything else, do it, like run.
Yeah.
But hearing this story like that, that puts the meat on it.
Yeah.
Like, that helps you understand you can do anything else, and that may be great. And anyone can do and should be doing ministry in any vocation
At some level. That's right.
So
Absolutely.
you could have done ministry in accounting.
Let me give you a prime example. Mark Clemens, our friend Mark Clemens.
Absolutely.
Okay, now he went into accounting.
Right.
Wonderful career in accounting. He's retired now, successful accountant, and I have prodded him. I've told him on several occasions, "Hey, Mark, you got that nice house and that nice car I never got."
Yeah. That's right. And,
But hey, I do drive a Corvette. It's old.
I was going to say, no.
It's old, but it's nice.
It's a red
nice.
Corvette, brother.
That's
it's
all right.
It is. It's
That's
nice.
great.
Yeah.
But Mark can do ministry just as much as we can. But
That's right.
God puts specific callings on people's lives. And so,
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, and it's
so it's a
interesting you had
great
a person because
example.
I remember when I was had just gotten saved and was just sharing my testimony in different places. And it was in Lexington, Kentucky, actually. A lady came up and just right at the end of it said, "Man, you're going to make a great preacher one day." And I remember I looked at my buddy like, "Did you hear that? Like, she's not talking to me, you know, because that wasn't my path, you know." And then my buddy just kind of looked at me like, you probably need to pay attention to that, you know. And it was shortly after that, you know, you kind of realize. But it's funny how God will use, just like he did that person in your life.
He uses people. He uses
absolutely
circumstances.
Yeah.
Opens doors, closes doors.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He just has a way of
So
guiding.
16 years here. So you didn't necessarily serve with Brother Owens,
No, I didn't.
but
No, I didn't.
you
That
grew
was-
up here. So
but-
you've known Brother
absolutely.
Owens
Grew up over
for
Pennsylvania
years.
Avenue until I married Dina, and was in Gordonsville at the time, part time, still working at Kroger when Dina and I married, and then shortly thereafter is when I got the first full time at Radnor in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so we I grew up here.
Yeah.
What's interesting is I knew Brother Owens. Dina grew up in this church.
Right. Yeah. This is
I
her.
did
This is
not.
her home church.
I
yeah.
did not. Yeah.
She's got some stories growing up, too.
Oh golly.
Well, that's what I was going to ask Mark. So, what's your favorite Brother Owens story?
Yeah.
Because I know,
Oh, my
even though you didn't go here, you probably
There's
have one.
Way too many Brother Owens stories. We
Yeah.
could take a few hours doing that. But let me tell you what, Brother Owens was a pastor's pastor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was amazing that, for instance, we would have a mutual family that we knew, okay, and an emergency happened in that family. I'll never forget this one. One of Dina's very good friends was in Tennessee. She was living in Florida, and her husband, while she was in Tennessee, actually with Dina at the time, got a call. He had a massive heart attack and had died.
Wow. Wow.
Okay? Dina calls me and tells me they're at her house. They're at the house. And so I get in my car, and I am just flying.
Sure.
Because this young lady, she was just in deep stress.
Right.
And she was. I walk in. She is sitting in the floor, just crying, And I get down on the floor. We were kind of trying to comfort her. I knock on the door. Brother Owens.
Yeah.
How did he even know?
Right. Right.
And here he comes.
Yep.
And when she saw him, Brother O.
Yeah.
Brother O. And we've been trying to console her, but when she saw him, she saw her pastor.
That's all it took.
And that's all it took.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. That's just who he was.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times in the Manuel family would have death in the family,
Yeah.
and he would beat the funeral home people.
Yes.
He was just that kind of a guy, and that
Right.
endeared so many people
Absolutely.
to him because of that.
Yeah.
Also, now I'm in Nashville. Okay, I'm ministering in Nashville.
Yeah.
I go to the hospitals almost every week. Invariably, one of those hospitals, I'd run into Don Owens.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
was always ministering to his people.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. Never forget that.
Yeah, he was, I say he was a one of a kind, and there was a generation of pastors that were like that. Not all of them were like that, but there were just, you know, I had a mentor that was like that. And I guess that's why I appreciate and respect Brother Owen so much, because I didn't know him real well or a long time, but just being here where he was, hearing the stories, knowing what he did, I know the type of person that he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because my mentor was that way.
Yeah.
And they were just unique. I mean, they just don't make them like that.
They don't
anymore.
make them
They
like
don't
that.
make them like that anymore. I mean, I'm just, I don't matter how much I try to be that way. It's just not who I am. You know, and you try to do this and try to do that, and it's so funny how his voice will be in the back of my head, or the stories will be in the back of my head, you know, because things will happen, and all of a sudden it'll go. You know, I hear this voice in my head that says, Brother Owens probably would have already been there. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you get this, and so it's good. It's a good, because that's just not, you know, how we came up in ministry, and it was different, you know, when we came up in ministry, but just so much respect for a man who was here 39 years,
Right.
you know, culturally led through some amazing things. And
Some
so,
amazing.
yeah, from 63 to 2000.
I know.
I mean, how much our culture changed in that time period. And so anyway, so I'm so glad that we have a building named after him, and we can still talk about
Such
him.
a legacy.
Yeah,
that we could
absolutely.
look back on.
And you know, we see, of course, Chrissa, you know, his daughter's here.
Yeah.
And so it's a great legacy.
It is.
But I'm sure you would have had a story. I know you have a good Brother Owen story. Absolutely.
Hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ask Dina, she's got a few that I've heard from her.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Dina's got
pretty entertaining.
I mean, Dina was actually here all
Right.
the time.
Yeah.
Now, she would tell me about a lot of them, but she actually saw it with her own eyes.
Yeah. And I think she may have ran around with one of his kids too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She and Terry, they were about the same age.
Oh, yeah.
And so they would run around a lot. They had that youth group here at Emmanuel. And one particular, now, Brother Owens would call you down.
Oh,
One Sunday morning, Brother Owens was saying so-and-so died in our church. And Dina, unfortunately, she probably wasn't paying attention, but she looked to whoever was to her right, and she said, who did he say? And when she did that, he happened to have his eyes on her. And he said, Dina Howell, you have something to share with the congregation?
No, he did not.
He did. He did, so help me. And Mary Vaughn Howell, Dina's mama, stands straight up, and she turns around. And Dina said, I knew it was over.
Oh,
I was dead.
It was over. I'm dead.
Wow.
Oh, but many, you know, just lots of
that's
funny,
awesome.
great.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Let me tell you one more. In the late 90s, I'm in Nashville, and the pastor at the church I was at, Tusculum Hills, was there for 35 years, and Pastor Owens was here for 37 years.
Right.
They knew each other very well. Well, they decided they were going to have a spring or fall revival, and Doug Westmoreland, my pastor, is going to come here and preach a revival. And I came and did the music.
Huh.
And then the next week, Brother Owens came to our church.
Right.
And I did the music for both of them. But anyway, Brother Owens came to our church after we had been here. And we had this one lady in our congregation. And she loved to praise the Lord. She just loved to praise the Lord. She'd start talking to me. Yeah, preacher. Yeah,
nice.
Bring it on. That kind of a.
Yeah.
Anyway, we forgot to warn Brother Owens about it. So Brother Owens on Monday night, he's going at it. He's just and Brother Owens, when he get to going, he'd pull on his tie for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
He did
I've
this a
heard
lot.
A ton of people tell me that.
Yeah. Lots of cases, he'd grab his tie.
Yeah.
And he just kind of, anyway. So he's preaching. He's right. He is mid-stride. He's going at it. And, I can't believe I couldn't call her name. I almost called her name. Anyway, she started, woo! Oh, preach, brother. It was, every minute. Glory, please.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Brolin said, ma'am, I don't know who you are, but you're about to preach me to death. Would you be quiet? And it was all over by that. Everybody just came unglued. It was great. It was great. Many great stories for those ones.
That's cool. That's
awesome.
Gotta love that.
Well, yeah, yesterday we had our Palm Sunday choir performance. Yep. I'm curious from your perspective, because have you been doing this like it's the Easter performance, but done on Palm Sunday? Is that how you've always done it?
We've always done it that way. I found very early on, Easter Sunday is a huge family day.
Oh yeah,
huge family day. And to try to pull off something that big when you are trying to add it to the family obligations,
traditions,
was just murder.
Yeah.
And so we started a long time ago in my first church, and found that Palm Sunday just worked so much better.
Yeah.
And so it just stuck.
Yeah.
That's the way I've done it for many, many years.
Yeah. So lately it's been in the afternoon at like 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And this year we decided to do it on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thought first we'd mention just kind of how it got to that point, how we decide to do it on a Sunday morning during the services as opposed to having the extra choir concert.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jeff, if you want to jump in there, because I was
it was kind of funny because we have our service planning time.
Yeah.
And I think when we were in there, it was about a year ago. So shortly after Easter last year, and we were talking about just the time issues on that particular day. Because on Palm Sunday we have our church services, then we have an egg hunt, and then you got to rush back here for a choir concert, and the kids were involved in it then, and they were just tired. I mean, it was really difficult trying to figure out how to squeeze everything in. And I'd been thinking about it already. And I'll never forget this because we're all sitting around the table in our old conference room, and I remember just saying, "Well, why don't we just do it during the worship time?" And it was like, I mean, you could have heard a pin drop.
I was dead silent. I said,
"No, Mark,
did he just say that?"
And I thought, like, does Mark not like the idea? It is not going to be, because Mark was just kind of like in a stunned, literally like in a kind of a stunned look.
I've been in this a long time now.
Yeah.
And I had never the first time had a pastor willing to give up his pulpit on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Come heck or high water.
Right.
I'm gonna have my pulpit time.
Right.
Yeah.
You just work around it. And you absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah, I got you on that one.
You got me. You got me.
And what's
on that.
funny about that?
And I think I said, "Are you serious?"
No, you did. Yeah, you did.
Something like that.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my, he really doesn't want to do this.
No, I had never even assumed that type of a mindset.
Yeah.
To have an opportunity like that.
Well, it's interesting to me, like the language you just used, give up your pulpit. And several people yesterday said to me, from the choir, man, thank you so much for being willing to give up your pulpit time for us to be able to do this. And I've just never looked at it that way. My perspective has never been that this is about me. This all of us share that stage. All of us have something to do in bringing what we bring to our people. And so we're stewards of that. We're stewards of the whole thing, not just like it's not isolated choppy pieces of the puzzle.
Yep.
And I guess it was, when I was leading the Fuge time and things like that we always looked at our service time began when it started and ended when it ended. It wasn't things that led up to things and all of this. It was kind of, we tried to create one cohesive piece. And so I guess it's just always carried over to me. And I thought, man, because really in my mind, I thought, what a great way for us to kick off Easter week, because Easter week is such a big part of our church here. Then, man, everybody kicking it off the same way, with our choir presenting, man, the great music that we did this past Sunday. And I mean, I think it turned out better than any of us ever expected.
So well,
because we knew it was going to be good, but you just never know how people are going to respond to that, because you think about this,
it's
guys,
different. It's
different,
yeah.
And we've been doing the model we've been doing since COVID. So since 2021, right? 2020 or 2021? 2020. We've been doing the 3-service model like we've been doing since 2020. And we've had variations where we've kind of, done different things, but you just don't know. And I thought, you know what? Our people need to be several things: to be exposed like I wanted our choir to be exposed to all of our services. I wanted all of our services to be exposed to our choir, and I wanted all of our services to have the same worship experience. Because you guys did a really good job of blending it and making it multi-generational, and that's what it was. And it just couldn't have been any better. The narration was great. I think the things that were said were spot on. I loved the video that you used on the front. I just felt like, and I think our people responded to that. And what I loved hearing our choir say, and all three of our services are different. They're all unique.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I love that about our three services. And I think our 8:30 service responds the way they do. They don't respond like the 10 o'clock does, or but they all respond in their own way, and we have freedom for that. But with the 10 o'clock crowd, I think just the sheer number and the choir getting to see the people spontaneously respond to God's moving through the song was just amazing. It was awesome.
Yep.
8:30 as well. I think our 8:30 crowd.
Yep.
Well, I couldn't see behind me, but I know I was. So I don't know if anybody behind me was, but I know felt the freedom to do that, and that's what you want in a service. You don't want to dictate what people do, but you want the freedom for people to be able to respond as they feel moved by the Spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Mark, how do you think just overall how it went? Feedback that you've got or anything of doing it on a Sunday?
I've got dozens of texts, people calling, and of course in between services, people just coming up and just I was so moved.
Yeah.
And the Spirit of the Lord was here.
Absolutely.
Just amazing, an amazing day.
Yeah.
And God gets all the glory.
Yeah.
God gets all the glory. It was just put together in that way.
Yeah.
And Cameron can, and you, as far as servant prep, everything else.
Sure.
That's that spiritual.
Right. Yeah.
That just makes things come together.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's that piece you can't explain.
You can't explain.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But you're certainly grateful for it.
Man, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah. I told you as we were leaving, and I felt it a little bit too, but I know you did. You actually got to enjoy the Easter egg hunt yesterday.
I did.
Without something extra on your mind.
I did. Now, I was exhausted.
Yeah,
sure.
I was hanging out around the welcome tent a lot because every time I'd walk, I think, okay, am I going to make it back?
Well,
but it was all right.
Yeah. Well, and of course, a lot of us, Mark and I, a lot of us do 3 services on every Sunday, but the intensity of yesterday was just different for y'all than a normal Sunday. But I'll tell you this, it was amazing how relaxed I was.
I bet it was.
I mean, like I was actually.
You got to soak it in.
Yeah. I got to soak it in. I got to be at church without the responsibility of, bringing the message that day.
Yeah.
And you would not believe how fun it was for me.
Well, good.
Because I got to go to the front door and I got to greet people. And I got to see people I never see. People, hey, Pastor, we need to get together. Let's talk about membership. I mean, people got to see me, and I got to be out front. I got to walk around the campus. I got to see, parking. I just got to do things I don't normally get to do on a Sunday morning.
That's great.
And plus, even Saturday night, you just like when you're getting, you got a full day Sunday and you get ready to preach. There's a game time kind of mentality you have, but man, just to go be a spectator and just go be the pastor.
That's great.
Walk around, greet people. Yeah, it was I loved it. It was a great day.
Yeah,
but the choir was ready as far as the singers, narrators. They were really ready. Of course, I know Cameron fights with this a lot. You have so much electronics involved.
Oh yeah,
and microphones and instruments and soundboard lights, the whole gamut. And sometimes that creates a little more stress for me than anything else.
Sure.
Because something electrical can happen to you at any time.
Well, what about dress rehearsal?
Oh, dress rehearsal was crazy.
I mean, you told me
there was
half the stage was off, right?
The construction crew had just made a mistake.
Yeah.
Had something cut off, and half of our equipment on the stage was not working, and here we are, the dress rehearsal for the program.
Yeah.
And so we got started 15 or 20 minutes late, but by the grace of God, Rob Pack ran to Home Depot and bought a 100-foot or something 20 amp extension cord or something and came. I don't know what all they did, but you may know more about it than I do. But I was already had gone out front because I was trying to get things ready.
Can you imagine those guys going, "Hey, I wonder what that goes to?" I don't know. Pull it. Man, let's pull that plug.
Yeah.
Well, they were in the process of where the breaker panel is for the closet that has all of our amp stuff, all of our sound stuff. The breaker panel, that wall is going away. And so they were in the process of rewiring all of that. And I think they had it wired, but the stage rehearsal was on a Thursday. They're used to Wednesday and Sunday. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody told them Thursday or not, but they just didn't have it cut back on.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, at least it got started. We're thankful it got started and we got through it. And
that's right.
And one of those things, but those things tend to a glitch in a slide or something like that. It can unnerve you.
It can rattle you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the Lord just kind of
you
know, most of the time you just smile and you go ahead.
Yeah. Everybody did a great job.
Yeah. They did.
They did. And it kind of created when we were planning for the Easter week and everything Easter, it created a conversation around this of like, it's always been, you've got just normal Palm Sunday church and then Easter egg hunt and Palm Sunday concert. And then it's connected, but it's like, that's the prequel for Easter. And then Easter weekend is like Good Friday to Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
But doing it kind of a combined service on Palm Sunday into the Easter egg hunt kind of created this idea of Holy Week. Cause we were talking about in that first meeting, just keeping Wednesday night the same.
Yeah.
But I really felt like, let's make this the whole week a big deal, tie it all together.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's where the meal came from.
And look at what has happened for Wednesday night. Way beyond our expectations.
Way beyond expectations.
Yeah, it's great. So I love the idea of this and how it just feels through this week. And so excited about the meal on Wednesday. If for anybody that signed up, anyways. Sign up, sir.
Please let us know if you're coming because we
filled it up.
Yeah, we got a waiting list right now, and so I know Marianne is trying to work through that because I had a couple people yesterday tell me, "Hey, something come up, we're not going to come, but we've paid. Let them know." So I think you're going to have some of that fluctuation.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I mean, rarely.
You always do.
Have I ever done an event where 100% of the people, except for Golden Gems, probably 100% show up? But other than that, you're always going to have that fluctuation.
Yeah, so, for sure. And then Good Friday service on Friday. Looking forward to that.
It's always a good service here.
It is.
I've had some people tell me that's their favorite service of the whole year.
Yeah.
So it's a very family oriented. It's intimate.
It's just different. Yeah.
It's intimate.
Seems like that service and Christmas Eve service.
Yeah.
Are two big services in our culture here.
Yeah. So it'll be good. We're adding some additional elements to it that we haven't done in the past that I think will be pretty powerful. So, and then Easter Sunday, just praying that we would be like we talked about yesterday or on Sunday, that we would be the lights that we are called to be, that we're supposed to be in this world, and that people would see God's love, and then as they're here on Sunday, that we would show them that, and that they would, if anybody comes and isn't a believer, that they'd respond to the gospel.
That's the one Sunday a year, and we kind of joke about it a little bit. The CEO, the Christmas and Easter only.
Yeah.
And they show up, but they're showing up.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll have hundreds more than we have any other Sunday of the year.
That's right.
Yep.
First of all, why is that? I don't know, but they're here.
Yeah.
Yep,
so what an opportunity.
Yeah.
What an opportunity that we have. And maybe, the Spirit of the Lord works, and out of that CEO group,
Isn't it interesting, though, when you talk about that, Mark, where you've got Christmas and Easter are the two times that people will come to church, and that's probably more of a Southern thing, Southern Bible Belt thing.
Is it? I've always been here.
Yeah, but I will say this though, and I think it's sporadic other places, but think about the God consciousness that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Just with even people who aren't believers,
Right.
that there's something unique about this day, and they may not understand it or even know, but it's like, I'm probably going to go to church that day because there's something about that day and God that I need to. So there's an awareness and a consciousness that we have probably here that a lot of places in the country don't have.
Yeah.
Right.
So we got to take advantage of that.
Sure.
Of
for sure.
that opportunity to man, show people this is the gospel.
Yep.
It's not about this is a manual. It's not about this is X church. This is the gospel. And that's what's most important, because a lot of people visit and then, come in town and go back out of town.
That's right.
And so, that's
right.
our goal is just that they hear the gospel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if we've ever like pushed this, and I don't know that. Anyways, the people listening, if there's anybody who doesn't have a lot of afternoon plans or whatever, the 11:30 service is usually our lower attended service, and the 8:30 and 10 on Easter the last few years have just been packed. So if there is an opportunity to come to 11:30, it'd be awesome just to create more room for that, for the people that we know are going to come. It's a great service time, and all of our services are the same this weekend, so it creates opportunity for that. So.
Yeah, so
Be
pick
flexible.
one that fits. Pick one that fits your schedule.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we hope happens.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's great to hear that story.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week.
See you guys next week.